Welcome back to the Always Wild podcast, good people of YouTube. And this is the second show of the week. The first one was all sport. And now it's going to be the new format going forward, one sports show, one all media show. And for the day we have a nice wee treat, make us more impressionable, make us more, maybe think more better of us going forward in the future. We're going to list out our favourite films and games and bands and music and all that sort of thing and see if you've anything in common with maybe make us more impressionable, I don't know. Or relatable. Relatable is the word, not impressionable. Don't become impressionable. Do not do as we do, you'll have a bad life. Relatable.
Rise up with the mates like this.
Right. End up looking things. Don't just shave your head one day when you're 20. Anyway, one of these categories you want to start with?
Try to go TV shows.
TV shows. You want to start, isn't it?
Aye, we'll go TV shows. So my top 5 TV shows. Well, just to give the viewers a wee bit of insight, we're going to go to TV shows and TV comedies because it's hard. It's a hard judge to have a serious TV show up against something that's quite light-hearted humour that you just sit and relax to while you're on your phone. So my first TV show is a Channel 5 classic, and it's Dogs Behaving Badly. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's
fuck off.
It's one of your top 5 shows of all time.
Is that a joke pick? Are you serious?
Aye, it was on a Wednesday night. I think it was on a Tuesday night, but we used to record it, me and my partner, and we sit and we watch it quite regular. We think Graham's brilliant, what he does with the dogs, it's fantastic. Some of the issues you see in some dogs, you notice for other dogs you've met, so you know how to handle it, how to curb issues. I just think the guy's great. He's got a book. He's like, who was that other one? Was it Caesar?
Oh, the Mexican dude that hit him a lot.
Him for South Park. So I've got Dogs Behaving Badly is number 5. It's literally not long started back as well. Get Sons of Anarchy coming in hot at number 4.
At least it wasn't behind the dog show.
I couldn't have done that to it. But the dog show is definitely fucking good, man. And then at number 3 is Vikings.
Yeah.
The Vikings, it's fucking great. Everything about it is marvellous. So good. Number 2 is The Sopranos. I was going to say it's one of my favourite TV shows.
That's implied, isn't it? That's implied.
This list of my favourite TV shows. It's one of my favourites.
So the Sopranos, everything about it is great. I love that kind of American history. I know it wasn't that long ago, but the thing of the whole mafia, it always did intrigue me as a child. And I thought James Gandolfini was fucking brilliant as Tony Soprano. That way he used to cut about all raging. I could kind of relate to it because I was angry as a kid.
Before you move on, do you remember that scene? I don't remember what season it is, but when he's in, you know how he's pals with the wee restaurant owner? I can't remember his name. Do you remember the guy I'm talking about, the wee bald guy?
Aye.
Right, see when Tony's in his restaurant one day and he's trying to have a conversation with somebody, but there's this table across for them, and one of the wee guys at the other table won't take his hat off. Tony comes up to him, he's like, "Going to take your fucking hat off," and the guy's like, "No," then goes back to his dinner, and Tony just stands behind him, staring at him, and all you can hear is this deep fucking bulldog breathing, like as he's just breathing down this wee cunt's neck. The guy eventually looks up and he's like, "Aye, alright, I'll take my hat off." Takes his hat off. I always thought that was funny. Because when he gets told no, he just stands and stares at him till he gets what he wants.
Tony Soprano is like one of the best characters of TV.
Aye.
Just hyper aggressive all the time.
Aye.
So comically raging.
I liked his uncle June, or Uncle Junior.
Oh, aye, Junior. Yeah.
The old guy shoots him. Because he's just a pure imbecile. He just thinks that he's leading everything, and he's just getting mugged off. If he's just a bit like, look at this daft, we all know. We can all relate him to somebody in our life.
I like how he threatened to batter his wife or his wee girlfriend or whatever because he was going down on her, and that was the thing they weren't supposed to do for whatever reason. And he's like, if you ever tell anybody, we're gonna go 10 rounds or something. I can't remember how he worded it, but it was quite funny. They're like slow dancing at a petty. He's like, if you ever tell anybody I did that, I'm gonna batter you.
I think it was deemed to be a feminine thing. It's no thing that like masculine males do. They don't go down on it.
And it cut to like Tony Soprano and his wife in bed. And he's like, "Oh, did you hear that?" And then he goes, "Don't you ever tell anyone about that."
He does it to her too,
I know.
So don't you tell anybody I did this.
And then number one, it could be seen as quite contentious. But I felt I had to put this one up because I watched it for, I think it was the second season. Just as the second season ended, I started to watch it and I just followed it all the way through my life.
Follow Brady's dog show.
Yes. No, I just continuously watched it, and I think it's. See with the other ones like Sons of Anarchy, I watched them on like Netflix. I kind of fucking binged them. Same with Vikings and The Sopranos. I just binged them all, so there wasn't that suspense. But see, in between seasons.
Yeah.
Whereas my number one pick's Game of Thrones, and it was just that way. You had that mystique at the end of every season. Like you would go to school, you would go to college, you would talk to your pals, and you would go, "But how do you think the next season's gonna go?" And then you would just get all hyped up.
That's how we all became pals, isn't it?
Aye, we all used to talk about Game of Thrones all the time. We used to talk. We all used to give our theories on how we thought it was going to end, and
who's your favourite character?
Predicted it.
Who's your favourite character?
Oberyn.
Oh, Big Oberyn myself, man.
Aye.
He was cool. Yeah.
Aye, there was just something about him that I really liked. Let's see when he died. I was spoiler alert. That happened to him.
Show's been out for years.
I know, it's been for years. See, if I think it's a spoiler, fuck you. You're obviously not going to watch it if you've not watched it by now, so fuck off.
And that death in particular was in season 4. It was an 8-season show that ended over a year ago. So, catch up.
He was only in it for a season as well.
Died for watching.
No, it was. I don't know. See, when he died, something just hit me. Like, I was really upset about that. I don't know what it was, but I was
the brutality, maybe. Because I know what you mean. I felt like a funny way after he died, but I don't think it's because he died necessarily. I think it's the manner with which he died.
The way he died.
It was a horrible death.
It was weird. Watching the fight, I felt I was actually watching a real fight. I was stunning on my flare. And I was kind of like shouting at the telly. I was going, "Go Oberyn!" And then when it happened, I sat down. I sat down. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was
funny.
Unbelievable.
Funny you talk about it that way, right? Because when I started watching it, it was in the lull between season 3 and season 4. Like I didn't start watching it till then, and I binged the first 3 seasons in the space of a week, and I just stopped sleeping. I just stayed up. I was staying up till 3 in the morning, binging everything, right? And then I did. I binged season 4 when it came out because I waited till it was finished, and I managed to get a hoodie on Awana. Yeah, and it was 2 in the morning when I watched that episode where Oberyn dies. And I was, oh man, he's never going to win this fight. That guy's huge. And look how big he is. And then he's winning the fight. And I'm like, oh, Oberyn might win this. Oh, he's winning. He's going to win. He's won. Oh, he's no one. Oh, Jesus Christ. And I woke everybody in the house up. Like, what's wrong? I'm like, Oberyn's fuck. And they're like, who's Oberyn? I'm like, aye, fair enough. Oh, God. It was how bad it was. It was how nasty.
Look, he was just floating before it as well. You think, oh, he's done it. He's on him, and then
I think the only other TV show that's gripped me like that is The Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, aye.
See that bit where you think Jax Teller's betrayed everybody?
Season 3, the season 3 finale.
Excellent. Aye, and you think he's betrayed everybody, and then it's just a complete switcheroo.
Aye.
That was some of the best.
When they all get put into the back of the polish truck and his mum and his wife's greeting because they think the cop's going to kill him, then they get in and they're all just laughing and smiling together. That was excellent.
Did you believe it's going to happen? Really, I can't believe he's done that. I can't believe he's ratted
Right,
in his club.
and up until that point, there's no indication anywhere in the story that it's a double switch. You believe, along with everybody else, that he's genuinely Judas in the club, and that Clay's going to kill him. But it's a fuck. And again, that's not a spoiler. That came out in like fucking 2010 or something. I don't know, 2009. So I mean, get a grip. That finale is probably the best finale. That might be the best TV finale ever. I think season 3 Simpsons finale. One.
Is it still on Netflix?
Sons, I just rewatched it again. I went through it again and loved them.
I'll give it a watch.
One of those ones that they'll never take off.
That's fucking brilliant. Isn't it?
As and you can watch it so many times, and but I must admit, I can watch it as many times as I want, and I'll still skip one part. Have you seen it, Scott?
No.
Oh, I'm not going to say what it is then, but I think you might know, Blair.
Right.
And when they're in the
Speaking
jail,
in code. Speaking
when
in
they're
code.
in the jail with the bars, the poles.
Oh, season 5. Aye.
Is it season?
That's
It might
season,
be.
aye. I know what
Aye.
you're talking about.
Aye.
And 4 go in and only 3 come back out.
Aye.
Aye. That's one of them ones where you share a wee man to you, isn't it? It's no good that.
Aye, I can't watch that.
That's naked.
Again, I was trying to emotionally prepare for that during this last watch, and I was still wrecked at the end of it.
Aye, but it's
Oh,
hard.
that's no good. That's no good. Aye.
It's a fucking good show, man. I want
It's such a
to go
good
be in the mood to rewatch it.
You should.
Aye.
It only gets better with every passing watch.
I find that with a lot of shows because sometimes when you watch them at first, there's wee bits that you miss, but see like wee intricate details.
Aye.
It takes a rewatch to go, all right, so that's what that meant. And then sometimes I need to watch a programme 3 or 4 times to get the full blast
Aye.
there.
Yeah.
For me, I think Game of Thrones is like that. You gotta watch Game of Thrones.
Absolutely.
I agree.
There's way too many plots. Everybody's scheming.
It's so hard.
It's like 4 different areas, 4 different islands or whatever.
It took me like on my 3rd watch through a Game of Thrones or something to realise that it was fucking Littlefinger that had the first hand of the king poisoned. I always thought it was Jaime and Cersei to cover up the wee affair, but it wasn't. It was fucking Littlefinger. What? Madness. And I've read the book, I should have known. Spoilers.
Spoilers, man.
That was fucking season 1. Come on.
When was that? Like,
I was just about to sit down and watch that. Yeah.
when was season 1? Like a decade ago.
Aye, fucking 2013 or something.
Back when Ned Stark still had a head.
Oh,
Oh,
I did not see that coming when it happened. I
no.
was so raging at that.
But
I liked
after I watched it, I was well, he kind of dies early and everything else he's in.
It is Sean Bean. The man is a walking spoiler to be fair.
you get fucking murked in Lord of the Rings as well.
It lasted like 2 hours. Longer than that, because that's a 3.5 hour film, innit? It gets sort of towards the end of the first film, so that's quite a long time.
Aye, and which is a decent film.
Yeah.
Like a full 2 days.
Yeah, so, Thrones is your number 1 pick. You never did pick you did, didn't you? Oberyn.
Aye,
Who
Aubrey.
was your favourite character, Scott?
Mine was Tyrion.
Tyrion.
Oh,
Small smart ass. I wonder why I like him.
what about you, Blair?
Oh, Stannis Baratheon.
Stan? I
Like
got to respect a man that will burn his own family. Get what he wants.
Stannis Baratheon is the Captain Ahab of Westeros. I'm all about that. I could highlight why, but you'll not care, so I won't.
Somebody at home might care, Blair. Tell us.
You want me to tell you, right?
Yes.
Is any you've never read Moby Dick, have you? No. You've had any, like, right,
I know of Moby Dick.
and you know what Ahab's all about then, what he's trying to achieve and why. Right, so they're similar in that they're both completely single-minded and obsessed with one particular aspect of life beyond all logical reason. Like for Ahab, it's revenge on a whale, which is insane in its own. And then Stannis is so obsessed with being the king that he like completely forsakes everything else shown about him. Becomes like monomaniacal in a way. It's just this one end is all he can see, and he'll achieve it by any means at his disposal. It's the same with Ahab and killing the whale. And they're both they've got the same sort of team run about them, right? So Stannis as Davos ran about him as like a normal guy. He's well adjusted in the head, and you can see that what Stannis is trying to do all the time is illogical, irrational, and wrong, and is only going to burn them in the end. But on the other side, he's being like manipulated by a religiously fanatical fire worshipper who's trying to get him like to do what he's got to do. Well, it's the same with Ahab, right? So his first mate on the ship is this religious guy called Starbuck who thinks everything Ahab is doing is blasphemous and needs to stop. And they're only supposed to be out on the water to hunt normal whales for their livelihood, no just to insanely seek this one random whale. Well, it's not random. He's out to get it. But on the other side of that, Ahab is being manipulated by a fanatical fire worshipper who thinks that Ahab, like what he's doing, is the right thing to do. So there's a lot of parallels between the two of them. And they both end up getting fucked by their own actions in the end. I put that on Reddit once and nobody seemed to care then either. So there's every chance I've just put everybody that's watching this to sleep. Stannis is my favourite character, and he's the Ahab of Westeros.
So we'll do a quick recap just in case anyone's got my top 5. So at 5 it's Dogs Behaving Badly. At 4 it's The Sons of Anarchy. 3 is Vikings. 2 is The Sopranos, and 1 is Game of Thrones.
Strong. I've never seen the Doug Show before though, but that's a strong choice.
It's great.
I don't like dogs all that much.
What did you say? There's like 5 seasons.
I think so. Roughly. Well, 3. I think we're on our 3rd.
What do they do? What do they do?
Is it just dogs attacking folk?
No,
it's
essentially like you get dogs with varying different issues. You get ones that like try and fight other dogs. You get ones that eat their own shite. You've got ones that just piss everywhere, except or eat or. There was one that used to hump everything. Like she used to take it to work with, and he'd be like humping. Like she was a hairdresser, and he would be like humping the hair dryers. He'd be humping her leg. He'd be humping the chairs. Like he was a randy wee bastard. Him. So what Graham does is great. It is essentially the same as that Caesar guy. He used to nip everything, but he doesn't nip the dogs. Just disclaimer: he's not a dog abuser. So he comes in and he basically attempts to train the dogs, because most of the time it's human behaviour that causes it. So with the shagging, it was every time the dog shagged something, the woman would laugh. So the dog's then getting off reactions. So the dog used to eat his own shite. I can't remember what the reasoning behind that was, but yeah, essentially
that's just most dogs.
Aye, it's that way. Like this wee guy, like, as soon as he was outside, if she looked away, he was gobbling at his poo. So what she used to do is she used to put there's things that you can get, like charcoal biscuits are apparently quite good for it. What else is it? I think pineapple something. You have to give a dog, and then it apparently makes it shite unappetisable. The charcoal biscuits and chili powder.
Oh,
But I heard of somebody that done that, like they sprinkled chili powder on like the dog's shit, and the dog just ate it anyway. And I was kind of like, so you're just seasoning the dog's food, but the dog is like, more salt and shit. So I don't understand. I don't understand.
That's horrible.
So this guy basically, he always like transforms the dog, because most of the time it is human behaviour.
That's horrible.
Aye.
Thinking.
Right. Hey. Well,
Stars, you need to go on. Let's talk about that.
Mine's. I've got nothing quite so highbrow as dogs eating their own shite. But, number 5, and I'm trying to make everything in order because I'm pernickety that way. So number 5 is Game of Thrones, and we just did like a wee bit on that, so I'll not go any more into it. And then 4 is Sons of Anarchy, which we've also just went over. So you covered a lot of my ground for me, so that's nice. That's helpful. And number 3 is Hell on Wheels, right? And if a lot of folk maybe know have seen that because it came out in 2013, I think, and it was on the AMC network at the same time as Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead. So it sort of fell by the wayside a lot. But it's this really dark, gritty Western show about a former Confederate soldier that's trying to fin the Union soldiers that murdered his family while he was away in war. He comes back home and his wife's been raped and murdered, and his wee Wayne's been murdered. It's really hard. And then he ends up, while trying to fin the folk that did that, he gets roped into helping build the first Trans-American railroad. So a lot of it is just sort of him working on a rail line But there's other stuff going on about it at the same time. And there's this one character in it who's sort of the main bad guy, but isn't he? Because he's not connected to what happened to the main guy's family. And he's called the Swede. And I put him on one of the lists that we wrote on here as the most underappreciated TV villain, because he's brilliant. Everything he does is great, and he like strays the line between being really funny and being like evil and really sinister. And he becomes obsessed with the main character because he himself was a prisoner of war for a while, but he was on the Union side. So when he hears anything about the Confederates, he sort of like just imagines it was this main character that did everything horrible to him, and he projects all his hate onto this one wee guy that had nothing to do with it, and he just sort of like hunts him over the course of the show, and sort of just starts killing everybody that this guy loves or likes for no real reason. Because he's insane in the heat, and he's really good in it. But there's a lot more to it than just this one mental person chasing the main character. But he's the best in it anyway. But everybody that's will never have seen it or heard it. It's on Prime, so I mean, should maybe give it a try. It's only 5 seasons. It won't take you terribly long. So there's that. Number 2 on mine is Vikings, which again you sort of touched on. And I don't know how to sell that to anybody that's never seen it, because you've not seen it, have you, Scott?
No.
I don't want to talk too much about it, because you should watch it. Again, it's on Prime. And there's just this list. A lot of these are going to be things Scott hasn't seen and should see, I think.
It's true.
Things
Just wait till we get to his horror films.
Ah, mate. You should both watch everything on my horror list. We'll get to that when we get to it. So I don't want to go too much into Vikings. It's the main character is like a farmer, and then the show just sort of follows his progression from being a lowly farmer to being a warrior to being like a king at the end. It's based on a very real character, so it's not really a spoiler because the guy was real. So,
I think they're all real to be fair.
they're all either real or
based on myths.
Or based on the sagas.
Who's your favourite?
Oh God, that's a weighted question. Probably the main guy, Ragnar. He was awesome, and his boy, his son, his first son, Bjorn.
Aye. I hated him in the first season, though.
Because he's only a wee boy.
Aye, and he was just irritating as fuck.
He was irritating as, but he gets like really. The show like lapses forward in a lot of years, and Bjorn becomes a grown adult, and he's like hard as fuck.
This is probably Bjorn or Floki.
Aye, I like a bit of Floki.
Aye, Floki was good.
Outside bet to King Harold. I love him. I love me some King Harold. The guy with the face tattoos.
Aye, Carol Halfhand.
No, that's his brother. Halfdan. Aye, Halfdan. Harold Fairhair.
Ah, Fairhair, that's it. Aye.
Based on the very real first king of Norway, King Harold Finehair. Or is it Fairhair was the real one and Finehair is the Vikings version? I can't remember. But also sort of shout out, do you remember the Christian priest that ends up joining their side in like one of the later seasons? No, the main guy, Athelstan, the other one. The warrior bishop.
The annoying one.
No, annoying. No, not annoying about him, he was cool. The warrior bishop.
Pain. See him trying to act, man. You're like, fuck off.
No. Everything he did was so intense. He was
his voice was so fake, it irritated me. It was that later on, Ragiford developed some form of strange accent that she hadn't had through any of the other seasons.
Because she became an old woman by the end, remember? That was like, she was meant to be all old and grey.
She went in. She had the cut list on that as well. Based off the accent. The first 5 seasons she was great. Or was it first 4? And then the 5th she started to irritate me a bit.
Oh, I loved Lagertha.
And I was like, nah.
You're watching it, Ryan. You don't like Lagertha. You don't like the warrior bishop. I can't remember his name though.
Ragiford was great up until she started maybe palling about with him. I think that was in the same season.
They started shagging.
Aye.
He's like that.
It's kind of fucking flashbacks back, that voice.
I must renounce you, Lagertha. Love Christ. He was brilliant. He killed a lot of folk. Anyway, so we'll move. I don't want to spoil nothing, Scott, because you should watch it at some point. But
it's on the list.
It's on Prime, so you've no excuse. The world locked down. You had no excuse. It should have been watched. Number 1 on my list is an absolute classic that will have been overlooked by a lot of people, sadly, or probably, and it's Spartacus. Now, I don't know if either of you have ever seen. I've seen.
I've seen.
Never seen Spartacus.
You never, right? Of course you haven't. Jesus wept. But anyway, Spartacus, I guess, a historical fiction based on the very real Spartacus, who was a slave in Roman times and a gladiator who eventually leads a revolt against the Roman Empire, or the Roman Republic at that time, as before it was even the Empire. So he gets a load of other gladiators and they try and rise up against Rome. And the show is essentially a lot of just shirtless men killing one another to an adoring crowd, and then a lot of really graphic shagging. That's all that goes on in the show. It's a lot of killing and an awful lot of shagging. And I mean a lot of shagging. I can't even ever sell just how much shagging.
More or less than Game of Thrones.
No, I swear to God, the shagging in Spartacus is leagues above what it was on in Game of Thrones. It's constant. It's so constant and so graphic. I'm surprised it was even allowed on the telly, because it's not just implied shagging. No, there's full-on shagging. there's wooden strap-ons and everything. It's horrendous.
Jesus.
Oh, aye, because it's fucking graphic. But it really is, in between all that, it's a great show. It's got the most lovable cast, I think, because they're all just hard. It's just a big group of hard as fuck lads fighting the Romans. It's brilliant. Each of them is so tough they can kill 5 Roman soldiers at a time on their own. It's amazing. But there's so that you should. I don't think that's on Prime or on Netflix though. But you should get the DVDs.
It used to be on Netflix.
Did it? It might still be. It'd be worth a check. You could try. I could mail you the DVDs if you want. I've got all 4 seasons in DVD. You got to watch the prequel season first. So that's mine. So Game of Thrones, Sons of Anarchy, Hell on Wheels, Vikings, and Spartacus. A lot of swords and sandals period drama in there.
Swords and sandals.
That's what they call it. That medieval shit. A lot of swords and sandals. So that's mine. Yeah. Scott?
Well, mine is, number 5 is Game of Thrones, obviously, but I'm not going to go back over that. And number 4 is actually Dragon Ball Z.
Alright.
Because I'm a child. Well, not really. It's a really good show, and I've watched it, forever. So it's been with me all this time.
Well, we were all quite young when that stuff started coming out. So
I know. Yeah, it came out in the 80s in Japan, and it started to come over here, late 90s.
Oh,
I think.
So.
Oh, it is. The manga came out in the 70s or something.
Really?
Yeah. So really, and I've got what's it called, Crunchyroll. So I've been watching Super as well. It's just cool, isn't it?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what Crunchyroll or Super is. So
of course you know. You should watch it.
Oh, aye. Cheek for the guy that's never seen Sons of Anarchy.
I thought you were going to say Spartacus then.
Well, that is the more egregious sin, eh?
That could be always filed to say egregious.
Number 3 is Criminal Minds, because I love that stuff. I don't even know how many seasons there is. I think there's 14, but they're all an hour each, and there's 20 to 25 episodes a season.
Yeah.
It's a proper slog. I'm rewatching it now, and I'm at season 8 because I've got her watching it as well, and she likes it. But it's getting a bit graphic because the last one that we watched, there was this woman, and she kidnapped 2 or 3 guys, and then she kidnapped this pregnant woman, and scraped the placenta out of her, and then made her kid eat it. It's proper weird stuff. So that's when she said, "I'm not watching that again. That's too weird."
I like how
it's a normal Saturday night to me.
We do not condone the theft of placenta. I like how the episodes are that long and there's that many of them in a season. How many different ways is there to catch a rapist?
Oh, I know. And the thing is, someone needs to make up all these scenarios and write them down.
Aye, right. That's grim, isn't it? It's quite a grim job.
I know. Was that 3? So number 2 is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Fat Mac, best character.
Fat Mac.
Fat Mac.
He's no fat. He's harvesting mass.
All right, he's mass. Mass Mac. Fat Ronald McDonald.
That's maybe why he's the best character though. Dennis, come on.
Oh yeah, Dennis.
Love Dennis.
I like them all apart from Dee. She's a bird. But
Oh, in Scotland, that could have another meaning. That could be very sexist.
Oh,
I don't like her because she's a stupid foreign lady.
see when I think it's the Halloween episode. They're all trying to figure out who went with Dee, and then Mac's in the bathroom, and Dee walks in, and she just hears squawking.
She's an actual ostrich.
Yeah, she's an ostrich just squawking at him. Oh, I love it. As well as Dennis and his tools.
My favourite character might be Charlie. Is he a Mac or Charlie?
Really?
I quite like Charlie. Or Cricket.
The best side character on telly history. Rickety Cricket.
Aye.
You know when it comes down, he's smoking PCP. He's like, "Hey, man, smoke a little PCP in your toilet."
He's like, no.
Just
He's like, hey.
He starts off at what, a priest, and then they just completely ruin this guy's life. And he dies like 3 times, and he constantly talks about how he needs to like suck guys off and gets done up the arse.
He gets that job, he just kills dogs all day.
That bit's brilliant, isn't it? It's when he's in the vet in the hospital, he's got a big like wound in his neck or something. Like, what the fuck happened to you? He said, I had a mild disagreement with a dog. And he said some things and I said some things, but suffice it to say that dog is very paralysed. That killed me, man.
See when they start selling coke, and he's just
it's all nips.
He's just drumming. He's just drumming on bins, and he's like, "It's all nips and hips. It's all nips and hips."
Rising up, getting higher and higher.
Oh, that's it. I'm rewatching that tonight.
Oh, it's a good man.
That's fantastic.
Oh.
And number 1 is South Park for mainly the same reason, because it's amazing.
Aye, that's fair. That's fair.
Just takes things too far, but they can get away with it. I was watching South Park last night. What one did we watch? I don't know.
I was watching the one where Cartman has the safe space because he gets called fat. It's a bit He's like, I thought I was really rich, and then someone told me that I'm buff.
Oh no, I watched the Whale Wars one last night.
Oh, aye. that's a good one.
Stan comes in and the boys are just playing like SingStar or Rock Band or whatever, and it's got Lady Gaga, and he's like, Stan, me and Kenny don't give 2 shits about stupid ass whales.
Is that the same episode that opens up with all the Japanese men harpooning whales and dolphins in SeaWorld? I fucking love that. There's all these wee Waynes in the pool, like playing with the dolphins, and you just hear all these like Japanese men come running out with harpoons, just start fucking murdering everything. These wee Waynes are covered in blood, greeting.
Yeah, and Stan's really upset. Randy comes in, he's like, "Oh, you still got your T-shirt? It's just covered in dolphin blood." Japanese prison laws. Japanese prison got me down.
I hate you guys. You guys are assholes.
And that was my list, lads.
So this is my TV comedy list. So it's number 5, it's The King of Queens.
Oh, I love that show, man. Coming back from school and The King of Queens was on, and then 2.5.
Aye, that was it. That was your running order. So
everybody loves Raymond.
Aye. When I was at primary school, it was like you would get back at
brothers just waiting for food all the time.
3:30, so you get back at 3:30. It'd be 3:30 to 4:30. It's like King of Queens. Then it was like 2.5 Men, and then Everybody Loves Raymond. Then that was your night before your mom started watching her shitey soaps, and the rest of your night was fucking ruined.
Hey, EastEnders used to be brilliant.
I was right in Hollyoaks.
Yes, I used to love Hollyoaks, man.
The best part was Hollyoaks later.
Oh, I know.
If you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Ending Brady's sisters get pumped off Reese. I remember it was just like the weirdest thing ever.
It's a brave guy that tries to shag Brendan's sister, isn't it?
Because that was the first episode I'd seen of Hollyoaks later, so I just assumed it was like Hollyoaks but on later. I didn't hear any of that in it. And then next thing you know, she's getting frogged in the flare.
She's getting viscerated.
Frogged?
And I was like, what's going on? That's when I was at school, so I was about primary, I think I was at 11.
I just imagine 11-year-old Martin like, what's that?
The whole thing is frogged. Oh, the name.
Oh, man, you've come up with some crackers today.
That's good. Kaya Queen's
Frogged and slithered.
Slithered was funny. But he was
Just trying to
slithered.
move on.
It worked for him as well. Like, he was slithering in.
She was way too hot for him in King of Queens. The wife in King of Queens was God.
Absolutely. And then he used to keep
It's like a
her
big
dad in the basement. The arty. And then he used to like bring Spencer to hang about with him.
That's what got me about that show. They kept her dad in the basement. And he would come up every so often, call the main guy fat, steal all his food and fuck off back to the
And talk about how shite they treated him. He was essentially a duck.
He would just come up and go, you're the owns this house I'm leeching off, or you're way too fat for my daughter. And then take like a loaf of bread or something and fuck off by doing it.
And then our next door neighbour was the
Probably nice setup down there in the basement as well.
Aye, basement
That's
like
the thing though, when he used to bring women home.
Imagine you kept your dad in the basement and he was bringing women home to shag.
Did he not try and like put like the couch in front of the door so he couldn't get back out? That shows a lot happier than.
Just got an old man trapped in the basement.
Number 4, it's South Park.
Yeah.
Which South Park's fucking great. Number 3, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. It would have been higher, but I've only seen it through like twice or something. So
Compared to mine in Scott's like 30 odd a piece.
I just feel I've not watched it enough
Recite
for
it
it
from
to
memory.
be higher up. It's the same as South Park as well. And then number 2, it's 2.5 Men.
Oh, nice.
Which was fucking great. Even it was good during Charlie Sheen's time, and it still continued to be strong post Charlie Sheen. I think post Charlie Sheen, his brother Alan, he took over the role.
Alan was even the best character. Alan was even the best character while Charlie Sheen was in it. Like, Alan was the funniest guy gone in that show.
He's so creepy.
He's so creepy, and he gets just progressively creepier as he goes on.
He just kept getting these unbelievable women to go to him.
He married Candy, and the bit that I'll forget my own mum's face before I forget this fucking scene. So Charlie comes back into the house, and Candy's done up like a Catholic schoolgirl. She's got the wee skirt on and the wee like pigtails and that, and she goes, "Oh, Father Huggy Bear," and Alan comes out wearing literally nothing but like a priest's cap with a wee collar. He's got a wee Bible on his horn. He goes, "It's my child." It killed me, man. It killed me.
Oh, it's similar happens when I think it's either Alan or Charlie goes to his Moz house, and they're like trying to get in the Moz house, and they're like chatting the door, and I think it's Charlie, and he's like, "Mum, I really need to see you. I really need to speak to you." And she's like, "I can't come to the door right now." And he's like, "I really need to see you." And she's like, "Oh, if you're sure." And she comes to the door dressed as a Catholic schoolgirl. And like the mum's old, man.
The mum was a mad shagger though. Like, that was one of her
Like,
things.
I've got a life outside you two, you know.
Aye. That really was a great show, wasn't it? Even Alan's lost life was
Charlie Sheen being Charlie Sheen.
It was, aye. That's exactly what his life would have been like.
Documented his life, basically.
Oh, aye. Apart from a lot less beating hookers.
And then he didn't keep any in the cupboard.
Aye.
I liked Herb in her. Herb was cool. He talked about good side characters. I like how he had this, whenever a woman fancied him, he called her a herbivore. That was the name he gave.
Aye,
That was funny. She's a herbivore.
He used he fancied Alan's girlfriend and near the end. What was her? He used to live in the same street.
She's got the son, the wee annoying blonde boy.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Is
Was
it?
she not like a softcore porn star in that storyline before she married Alan? And that's what her knows her for. What was her fucking name? Anyway, I remember who you're talking about.
And then at number 1, it's Still Game. Every episode about 5,000 times. I think I can say them off the heart. But what happens in them? For anybody that's not seen it, it's about 2 pensioners from Glasgow that just got wild shit, and it's really funny.
That sounds really boring when you say it like that.
I know. It's a bit, and they basically bully a guy in the bar owner into doing whatever they want.
Who's your favourite character in it?
Winston.
Mine's Tam.
Oh, man, I was going to
Tam's
say Tam.
well funny.
I love Tam.
They're appreciatedly funny. See when he gets, we see the bit with the toaster, and he's like, "Oh, but the toaster's always burnt." What? You never heard of a knife? You can't scrape it off.
It's a story moment for me.
And then the rubber bit fun comes off and he electrocutes himself.
He's like, "Oh, a wee bit of glue and you'll be fine."
His best bit for me is see when he's the hospital DJ and he meets that guy that he knows and he's talking about how he's in there getting a pacemaker operation and he can't go his wee timeshare holiday. It's when Tam goes to walk away and he stops and goes, "So your wee timeshare lying empty then, is it?" And it just cuts to the next scene of Jack and Victor going, "Ya dirty bastard." I just love it, man.
I'd see before he goes on his holiday, he's in there and he's just putting all the biscuits into his pocket. Proper tight ass.
For anybody that's maybe never seen Still Game, Tam is really cheap and tight and will always swindle. He never spends money. He's a swindler. He's brilliant. He is, as you say, unappreciated in that show because Jack and Victor are so funny. And Winston is obviously brilliant too.
Winston is. It's between Winston and Tam because Winston's so angry all the time.
I know.
I like when that one he takes his fake leg off and launches it at Bobby because he wants like these pints 2 deals or something. So he takes his wee fake leg off and tries to club him with it.
Oh, is that the one where it's too misty?
He's something stupid.
He's always trying to fight with the bookie as well.
Steven.
But
Steve.
I think my favourite Winston moment is like he's on a bench in a park and I think he's reading a book and this little kid's like, "You're a fatty, you're fat," and he just has enough. He does. So I've got underactive thyroid, you prick.
It's Tam's grandson or something.
It's like Tam's grandson or granddaughter or nephew or something.
I've
I've an overactive thyroid, you prick.
Big belly. Overactive thyroid, you prick.
That's a good little unit.
That's my TV comedies. King of Queens, South Park, Always Sunny, 2.5 Men, and Still Game.
Fine choices. So for my TV comedies, keeping that theme, mine number 5 is South Park, and we covered that there at length. Yeah, so I don't need to get into any more of that. Number 4 for me is Scrubs.
Scrubs was good.
Scrubs was brilliant because he had a lot of things going on, right? Like JD was funny in his own right, but some of the side characters were just brilliant. So you had Dr. Cox who's just raging permanently at everybody and everything, and he just does nothing but just shout and threaten everybody, and that's good. And you get Kelso, the old guy that's sort of like the chief, and he is just like one of the biggest bam-up merchants you've ever heard of in your life. He does nothing but float around that hospital tormenting folk. It's just so funny. There was one bit he did to Dr. Cox, and I always remember it, is you remember Cox's wife, Jordan?
Yeah.
The angry hot woman that's on the board. Cox is complaining to Kelso now that they're back together that everywhere he goes, Jordan's there and he can't get any free time for her. He's like, she's there when I wake up, she's there in the car, she's there when I'm at work, she's there when I'm trying to work out. And Kelso goes, I appreciate you unburdening yourself, thanks, I'm glad you told me that. Then it cuts to this next scene where Cox and Kelso are together, and Kelso offers Jordan a full-time job at the hospital. And Jordan goes like to Dr. Cox, "Oh, now we'll get to see each other even more," and walks away. And Cox just turns around to Kelso, damn near in tears, and he goes, "Why would you do that to me?" And Kelso goes, "How did you not see that coming?" I love that, man. The sort of lengths he would go just to annoy him.
Was he not like the head of medicine or something?
Yes, it's the guy who runs the hospital, and he does nothing with his power and time but harass folk. It's just...
I like the Johnny.
I was going to get to the Johnny. The Johnny's the same as Kelso, but his is more single-minded. He goes about spending all his free time just tormenting JD for no good godly reason. He's done so many funny things, it's really hard to pick just the one. The Johnny is good. And then there's all these other side characters. Like Elliot, she's not a side character, I suppose, but she's funny as well, because she's insane. Like everything he goes on his like, long-winded, high-pitched rants. Right, Scrubs is number 4. Friends, number 3. It's
Good choice.
Friends is a classic. We all grew up watching Friends. And I'll not be having any of this like modern Twitter shite where folks say that, Friends is overrated or it's no funny. Like, no, you're just a dick. Like you're trying to say something controversial for retweet.
I see that. No seen it or they're lying.
Exactly right. You've either not watched it or you're lying. How do you pick that? There's so many.
Just saying, it's so problematic that it's this, that, and the other. It was filmed in 1992.
I know, right? Aye. And that's one of the things that I complain, like Joey's predatory towards women, which I suppose it kind of is, isn't it? But it's funny because he's harmless.
It kind of is, but like it's not like he's not Dennis. He doesn't have tools to get at these women.
We'll get to Dennis. Lovable. And again, I don't know how you pick out one, but I mean, who's your favourite character in Friends? There's a question. So who you got? Who's yours? Chandler. Scott.
It's between Joey and Chandler. It's tough to pick.
I always, for that reason, try to categorise mine based on the gender, because there's the 3 guys and the 3 women. So I have my favourite guy and my favourite woman. The Chandler and Monica, but it's close because Joey's brown. See the woman
Joey is class.
So Joey takes that lassie out on a date and he goes after nut at her for trying to steal off his plate. And then, so that in itself was really funny. And then he apologises. And he tries to take something off her plate, and she goes, "Oh, no, if I can't eat for you, you can't eat for me." And then she gets this big bit of fucking chocolate cake for her pudding. And she goes, "Right, you keep an eye on this for me, I'm going to the toilet." And when she comes back, it's just Joey like sitting with his shirt on, but chocolate all over his face because he's been sitting to a cake. And she's like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "I'm not even sorry."
One of the funniest parts about that is see when Rachel's telling a story, because like they're telling Phoebe about how she took bits off his plate, and she's like, there was one time we were sitting at the breakfast bar and like Joey had a couple of grapes in his plate and Phoebe's like, "You wouldn't even let her have a grape?" And Rachel's like, "No, not me, Emma." Which is a 1-year-old kid.
She's like a wee 4-year-old child in the cake, is that for stealing his grapes?
It just cuts back to Joey and he's like, "Joey doesn't serve food."
4-year-old kid.
See, Friends brings you nothing but joy and happiness, and I'm just not having any of this modern young person Twitter bullshit.
Who's your favourite character that's not a main character?
Easy, Richard.
Richard
was cool as fuck.
Richard was cool.
He had his big moustache, he had his cigars, everything about Richard was awesome.
I quite liked Jack, like Monica's dad, him or Janice.
Oh, Janice.
Where's the thing?
Here's the thing about Janice, though. See, for she was billed as being like the most irritating human that's ever lived. You'd have thumped her. She was quite hot. I'd have thumped her anyway.
She did nothing wrong as well. She was like the villain of the show.
No, she was nothing but lovely. She was nothing but lovely to Chandler, and it was just horrible to.
He tells her he's moving to Yemen.
I'm going to Yemen.
You can send me letters at 12 Yemen Road, Yemen.
He's like, "Right, I'm in the checkout lounge now. You need to go away." She's like, "No, I'm not going till I see you get on that plane. When we get to Yemen, can I live with you?" To this like 3-year-old.
Mike is cool.
Mike.
Phoebe's husband.
Oh, Paul
A
Rudd.
crap bag.
Aye. Paul Rudd, aye. Yeah, he changes his name to Crap Bag, doesn't he?
Aye. She changes it to Princess Consuela Banana Hammock or something.
Do you mind the one for season 3 where Monica's dating John Favreau? And that's his real name, I can't remember what he's called in the show. And he wants to be a UFC fighter. And Tank Abbott kicks fuck out of him.
He's just this billionaire, and he's like, I'll try UFC.
Aye. And it's Tank Abbott, they make him fight. And he gets
That's his
back.
name, innit? Pete Pecker.
Aye, Pete. Aye, that's it. Well remembered. And Tank Abbott just punches fuck at him. He's in a full body cast and everything in the next scene.
He trains
He's
by
like,
going to a man, ripping the
I
arms
can go
off.
into fight camp next week. You're in a full body cast.
That there, what you was just saying, man, that's one of the most underrated lines I think I've ever heard in my life. Oh, his next opponent, he trains by going to Iran and ripping the arms off thieves. See, every time I rewatch Friends and I hear that bit, it fucking kills me. He rips the arms off a thief. You just wouldn't fight somebody that could do that, though, would you? Like, pound the arms off thieves. Anyway, see, the other amount of joy that Friends brought us, that was lovely. So number 2 is Married with Children. There's this old sort of sitcom thing that started in the 80s. And the premise is it's like the opposite of Friends or any of them sort of like family-friendly type things. Because it's about a married couple with 2 Waynes and they all hate one another. And it's just everybody's so annoyed and crabbit and hateful. And they do nothing but torment one another. That's like the hell show. It's just this like really horrible family that torments one another. And it's hilarious. It's like all really violent, but not so much to each other. But occasionally they all just randomly attack other people for the slightest things and just punch fuck at them. And it's Katie Seagal for Sons of Anarchy's the mother, and Ed O'Neill for Modern Family is the main guy.
Yeah, Jay.
Jay, aye, they all do
Alright.
Family, which is also a great show.
Is she not Layla from
She is.
Futurama
Aye,
as well?
aye, she is. Aye, she's Layla for Futurama, and she was in this other funny show called Eight Simple Rules. I don't know.
Yes!
Oh, Eight Simple
Aye.
Rules was good.
That's where Kaylee Kokoko came from, innit?
Aye, it's
Yeah.
her. You've got the late John Ritter is the dad.
Oh, he was great in that.
He was great in that, and then when he
Voiced by
died,
Stephen Spade. No, David Spade.
David, aye,
David Spade, yeah.
and
It's like the loser cousin or something.
aye, he was the cousin. But when John Ritter died in real life, they brought Spade in as the cousin. But they brought Katie Seagal's dad into the papa, and he was brilliant because he was just like a really crabbit old man that hated everybody.
Aye, he was good to be fair.
He was always trying to cane David Spade.
I always look if we've got a type for favourite characters.
Like crabbit old men.
Great
It was
old
like a recurring gag in that is David Spade would say something stupid and the old man would try and cane him, which I loved that. And the wee boy always wanted a monkey. He was always trying to steal monkeys.
Oh, what was his name?
I don't remember the boy's name.
I've not seen that show in years.
And then
That is
there's the
brilliant.
other sister.
They used to do Comedy
the-
Central one time.
The red-headed one that was really smart. I can't remember. Bridget. One of them was called Bridget.
That was the Bond.
Right. So what was that one called? I don't. For the life of me, I can't remember. But it was brilliant anyway. So if you
Oh,
never
it's
really
brilliant.
watched that. Aye, that was Married with Children, and the neighbours get in on it. The next door neighbours are also horrible people, and they always just like it's like It's Always Sunny in a way. They've always got schemes and
Yeah.
scams, and it never fucking works. It's really.
It was like a toned down Always Sunny.
Oh, see, I think It's Always Sunny took a lot of inspiration from Married with Children. I don't know if that's official or that's just how I see it, but because I watch them both quite a lot, you can see like
Yeah, similarities.
And Al, the main guy, starts this anti-women's group called No Ma'am. It's him and all his pals. And No Ma'am is an acronym. It stands for National Organisation of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood. Look at these wee t-shirts with No Ma'am on it. They all just get together and talk shit about women. Which sounds horribly sexist, right? But on the flip side, all the women characters, they don't have a club, but they all hate men. Like, men are just shag objects for them, so it's balanced. The hatred is balanced. It's not just like anti-women. Oh, this you should watch the whole thing. It's fucking amazing. Like it's quite absurd and all. Like it's not very realistic, and the longer it's on, the more absurd everything gets. Like this shopping centre that's opened on their street hires like a mall Santa to promote the Christmas rush, and he goes skydiving to like promote this big fucking flag thing to like promote the shop, and his parachute fucking like rips, and he gets impaled on the main family's fence. See what I mean? Stuff like that. It's insane. But it's brilliant. It really is hilarious. And I couldn't recommend it. Especially when the neighbour gets divorced and marries this other guy called Jefferson, who is the best side character of all time. He's up there anyway with cricket. But anyway, like, so that's that. And my number one is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which has made everybody's list, but it's my number one.
Oh, good choice.
That's my favourite film with the show of all time. I've seen it like the way you are with Still Game. I've seen every episode 50 times, and it's always constantly funny. You can't believe
matter how many times you watch it. It's just so funny every time.
It is, because it's the things they get away with. The stuff that's in this. Do you remember the one where they go up skiing in the mountain? And Charlie shags that prostitute in the hut.
Yeah.
So fucking graphic. I can't believe they get away with it. And I watched a funny interview with Charlie Day, the guy that plays Charlie, and he said that the network, they don't pay any attention to the things that they're doing. So, like, they send them all these scripts and we want to film this, and they don't get read. And the guys just say, "Aye, right, fine, you can film whatever you want." So Charlie's like, "I wonder if these people are even reading the scripts." So he wrote that sex scene in, and it's the most ridiculous, like, graphic sex scene in telly. And it's like, guaranteed to flag this, and we'll know about it today, and they come back approved. He's like, does anybody even, like, do the people that pay for this even watch what we're doing? I can't believe they've let us do that, but I'm going to fucking do it anyway. So, and it says, and also in that episode, Dennis breaks his ankles, and it's the funniest thing. He's just rolling about the ground screaming.
Like right in the end. I've broken my ankles.
My ankles are broken.
And then he's like, I think his ankles are broken.
And Matt goes, he has broken his ankles.
My ankles are definitely broken.
that scene is on YouTube. Occasionally, if I'm in the bath or something, just find that. Just Dennis pained screams. So that's mine. It's Always Sunny. So we've got South Park, Scrubs, Friends, Married with Children, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's me.
Well, I'm going to flip it in a different direction. I'm going to go with superhero TV shows.
Alright.
Aye. A little bit of variety.
Bit of change.
Alright.
It's the spice of life.
And Martin, you like your superheroes, don't you?
Aye, I do to an extent, aye.
And Blair, you don't.
As an overall sort of like genre, no, not particularly, but on individual, like case by case basis, I think some of the films are quite good.
I think you said you like Kraven the Hunter.
I did, right, because when I was away, do you remember the 90s Spider-Man TV show that was on Fox?
I've actually just watched it on Disney Plus.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's got a really cool intro with the guitars, like,
Radioactive Spider-Blood.
Spider-Man. Anyway, I loved that show as it failed, so like most of my knowledge of all these people come for that. And I always just thought Kraven the Hunter was really cool. And they're going to make a film about him now, which I like. He's just this big, mad Russian hunter that kills lions with his hands and tries to catch Spider-Man because he'd be the ultimate trophy to put up on his wall. I just always thought that was funny. So I like Kraven the Hunter.
Well, my number 5 pick would actually be something I think you'd like. It's The Punisher. It's just so violent.
Aye.
It's so violent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Like the government's killed his family, and he's just taking this big vendetta against everyone who does anything bad. Because he's like an ex-marine, Frank Castle. So he has the skills to just kill everyone, and he does.
They got the guy for The Walking Dead to be in that, didn't they?
Yeah.
John Bernthal or however you pronounce his last name. He's cool. Him. I think of that.
I like him. He was really good as the Punisher as well. They talked about bringing some of these Netflix Marvel shows to Disney Plus, which I'd be quite happy with.
It's a bit adult orientated, I want it for Disney.
No, I think there might need to be like whatever it's called, like a parental lock on something. Because the Punisher is so violent. Like, people are getting shot, stabbed, and all sorts of things. Does he not put his fingers in someone's eyes?
Christ.
Yeah, I think he mountains someone.
Oh, I did actually start watching that because my mate Ricky told me. Shout out to Ricky Knowles, my pal there. He did tell me that I would like that because, as you say, it's just this hard guy being violent, and like you might like it. So I ended up watching like the first 5 episodes or something, and then stopped because something else came on that I was interested in. I did love how in the first episode he's sitting reading Moby Dick. I thought that was cool. I vibed with that.
Oh, it's great. You should keep watching it. It's good.
I will. I would need to watch it again for the start because that was a wee while ago.
Aye.
Forget what happened.
I think it's like a slow burn at the start, and then it gets progressively more.
I did enjoy it though. I did. What I saw, I enjoyed. But I think Game of Thrones come back on or something. Something big and life changing come on. I don't remember.
My next pick is Daredevil from the Netflix shows. Really like that as well. That's just all about him. It's mostly about him being a lawyer, but he's blind. So, and there's this one scene where he's fighting this like
the back in the sink,
like this clan, but he's like battering everyone as he's going down the stairs, and it's so impactful. Like every punch is just ridiculous, and I can't. Like he's a superhero, I get that, but at the same time, this guy's blind, and he's just battered like 40 people. Yeah, he's battered like 40 people walking down the stairs whilst carrying the Punisher. Oh, it's great. Have you seen it?
No, I've not actually. There was a guy at my work, he used to like to dress up as the Punisher and take pictures on Facebook with him at night.
Alright.
And he thought he was the Punisher.
Number 3 pick is the Flash TV show. I've really got into that. I was watching that over lockdown. That was really good. That and Arrow, which is my second pick. The CW shows are actually pretty good, apart from, what's it called, Legends of Tomorrow. That's just gash. It's about like all these C and D list heroes going throughout time and fixing things.
Forgive my naivety, but the first two that you mentioned, they're Marvel, aren't they? They're Marvel properties.
Aye.
In the Flash and Arrow or DC, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. I know that's probably a daft thing to ask, but I really don't know that much about them.
That's fair. Yeah. And actually, I've got a controversial opinion about it, because everyone's on the Marvel hype train, but I prefer DC.
Alright, like the films as well.
Maybe not all the films, like...
I think the Batman saga carries them, don't they?
Like
I will
the
say,
Dark Knight
I like
trilogy was really good.
Aye, I was going to say, I quite like them. They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Aye, 'cause it's Robert Pattinson, it's the new Batman now.
Yeah.
So I was looking at something that they're bringing out a new Batman film.
Right?
Yeah, it's just called
He's a surprisingly capable actor, that boy. I know he gets sort of marred because of Twilight, but he's in this.
Yeah, it's really good.
He's in this like really art housey type horror film that came out last year. It's shot in black and white called The Lighthouse. It's him and Willem Dafoe, and it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
that's really good, man. That's like a right slow burn, Lovecraftian type thing. That's great.
And my number 1 pick is Gotham. So it's basically just Batman before Batman.
Right. I hear good things about that now.
Oh, it's good. It's daft Gotham, because it's like, but the Balloon Man's in one of the episodes, and he's just attaching like weather balloons to people who he doesn't like.
That would be horrible.
Yeah, and then they just fly all the way up, basically to the atmosphere, and then I think it's like because it gets so cold up there, it bursts, and then they just come flying all the way down.
That's horrendous.
Aye.
That would be bad. That's a horrible way to die.
Yeah, it's dark. I think that's why I prefer DC, because it's darker.
Right.
It's much darker than Marvel. Although Punisher's really dark.
That's always been something that I don't like about the Marvel films that I've seen. It's quite like the world is always just on the brink of ending, and folk are still cracking jokes and things.
Yeah,
I don't really like that. But that's a big Hollywood trend. That's not specific to them. That's
no, it's the formula, isn't it?
Everybody seems to care that the world's about to end.
No, I know. Whereas like Batman's like so on the level.
Oh,
I just prefer DC.
Did you see the Joker? I know it was like 2019's biggest.
It's amazing.
I didn't know what to think of it, man. But again, I'm not the target audience for that. But Joaquin Phoenix is a fantastic actor. His performance was ridiculously amazing.
I liked it, but I didn't think it was as good as if they made it. I
Aye,
thought that's it were a bit
It was great, man.
boring.
Like the kind of because
Too
you don't
slow.
know if he's actually speaking to these people, and it's like in the mind of a paranoid schizophrenic.
I thought it was well made. Again, look, it wouldn't have been my film of the year for 2019. Like you say, Matt, I thought maybe it was a bit. No, I would rate it because it was really good. It was completely different from every other superhero film that's ever been made.
Because he's just a normal guy.
Aye, and I appreciated it was like a cinematic experience. It wasn't just loads of CGI and things flashing. It was like a proper story, if that makes any sense.
Like the budget on it's like nowhere near like the Marvel films. And yet I think it made like $1 billion or something.
He won an Oscar for it, didn't he? Joaquin Phoenix. His performance was surreal.
Yeah, he's so thin in it as well.
I know, right? He's one of the guys that gets so method about everything that he does, and he becomes the fucking character.
Yeah, like you
He's
can
a great
see his
actor, man.
spine and his ribs and stuff.
It was horrible. He's a really solid actor, though. Like everything he's ever been in is brilliant.
So that's my list.
That's strong. Superhero TV. Well, it was a good thing that you mentioned that list, I suppose, because they're really popular, aren't they? So I mean, for anybody that's listening to this, Scott is a massive like superhero type guy. So you want to see like comic book themed videos and things in the future? Hit him up, let him know. He would like that.
Follow me on Twitter.
Can we? I know we've got films left today and stuff, but I'm really curious to hear what your music picks. Can we jump into music and albums? We've known each other for years and I have no idea what music you like.
Bands, music, albums. Bands, albums, games, then back to films.
Right, that's cool. Right. As I say, we've known each other for years now and I've no goddamn clue what you people listen to. Other than the Rocky IV theme.
I'll put that in.
Edit
Just
that
one drenched in sweat on that.
Jump shot, brah! Jump shot!
Aye, because for some context, last night Martin sent us a video after he had been working out and it was to that song for Rocky IV. The heart's on fire. He's all sweaty, going, champion!
You should have heard me when No Easy Way Out was on when I was on the treadmill.
No shortcut home.
I was going, yeah, no easy way out, no easy way out. You're shouting at myself. I was like, you need to calm down.
Mate, that is an inspirational soundtrack, though, to be fair.
Aye. It's made it. Aye, it's definitely good.
So, what we got? Albums, right? Why don't you go first? Because I'm genuinely curious to hear what your bands and albums are.
Do you want to go first, Scott, or what?
I'll go first. Mine's like bands and artists.
Right.
So, these are no order because like it changes all the time. But first I would say the Arctic Monkeys. I love the Arctic Monkeys.
Right.
I've seen them live at T in the Park, and Alex Turner was just out his nut. Like they played a few songs, then they went off, and everyone was like, they were only playing for like 20 minutes. And I'm pretty sure they went back there to just do some drugs and then come back out.
Right.
They came back out, and you should have seen Alex Turner's eyes. They were like that.
So we touched on that in the first show, I think. Like, I know their name, but I couldn't know if I've ever heard one of their songs.
Yeah.
I know who they are, but know what they do necessarily.
Yeah, it's the kind of mod scene.
Right. You've got that look about you, so I'm not really surprised.
Yeah. The same with my next pick's Oasis. It's not your cup of tea there, though.
No.
As you can tell with the Iron Cross.
Them I do know. I know who they are.
Next is Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Like me some MJ.
Okay, that.
Obviously separate them out from
my disclaimer, he separated the art from the artist. Goddamn, if Thriller isn't the best music video ever made, it's close. If it's not the best, it's in the conversation.
Aye.
And Vincent Price's monologue, he's a legend of horror cinema, Vincent Price. His wee voice over in it's amazing. I like Michael Jackson.
Next is Sinatra.
I
like that.
Right. That's
That's threw me a bit there, but he is good. I prefer Dean Martin. I do like a bit of Dean Martin.
I like Dean Martin as well. That's what I'm saying. Like my music's all over the place. Like I'll listen to something from like the 20s, and then listen to I don't know Paramore.
Paramore, bloody hell!
It'll just go all over the place. And then it'll be like grime, and then I'll listen to Motorhead, then I'll listen to Hamilton, the musical. It's just
grime, Motorhead, and Hamilton the musical. That is quite a leap.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you
see my
Motorhead.
Spotify playlist. It's ridiculous. And my final pick is Elvis Presley.
Right.
And my album's kind of fall in with all that.
I can tell from Martin's face that you've thrown us both with that list. That's amazing.
Right.
I told you it's a weird list.
That has some choices.
That is some choices.
There's definitely a choice.
Fair enough. Hey, Martin.
So on mine's I've got Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
I love me a bit of Oasis, and then I've got Stormzy. I love Stormzy. He's great.
Fuck Boris.
Aye. Fuck the government and fuck Boris, that's just words that he says in his song. That's not my actual opinion. Disclaimer in case we get done for slander or.
The opinion here is definitely from Stormzy.
Yeah, it's definitely from Stormzy.
You're very pro-government, man.
Number 3 is
There's Buddhas in the background.
Green Day.
Oh,
I like
some Green Day.
Aye. The Arctic Monkeys also made my list.
Right.
And this one, I couldn't. For number 1, I put 2 choices because one of them is probably my favourite band, but then there's a guy that I think I've listened to every one of his songs. Like, there's no many bands you can hear and go, I've heard every one of their songs. But it's Catfish and the Bottlemen. That's the band, if you've heard of them.
Can't say that I have.
They're from Wales. They're generic indie band. They're actually quite good. I went to see them at I think it's at Bellahouston Park. Me and Susanna went to go and see them last summer at summer sessions. Before the world get fucking cancelled. And that was shared top with a singer called Mick Constantine.
Again, that's lost on me. I
don't know who that is.
He basically... did you ever hear the Conor McGregor song?
No. Well, I might have. I don't know what it is though.
He done like a Conor McGregor song, but I knew him because he was on like Facebook because he done a song about Ireland at the Euros.
Yeah.
And it was just like really good. It was just a wee guy like playing his ukulele, and he was just standing with his pals. I just thought like this guy's actually quite cool. He's quite funny. And then since he just does a lot of songs about like sports people, he's done one about the boxer like Mick Conlan, who I really like. And then he done one about like Tyson Fury and that. And his songs are just really quite engaging. They're ones that you just sit and you pure belt out in the shower. So if that's constantly listening, you're an absolute G, my man. You're a G.
Right.
I'll happily have you in the podcast any day. We can fit it around your schedule. You're a saint. P.S. Bring your ukulele.
That would be something. A live ukulele performance on the Elvis Wild podcast. I would be alright with it. Now, we're about to do a 180 here, right? Because in case anybody that's watching this can't tell from my generally friendly demeanour that I have a very specific taste in music. Whereas these 2 previous lists for you guys have been sort of like up and down and a bit of everything. I'm really musically specific. And it's not by choice, just most of the music irritates me. I don't know why. I can't help it. It's not because I'm some like niche hipster prick or whatever, but although I kind of look like one, don't I? But that's not the image I'm going for. But anyway, I'm a huge metal fan, so these are all going to be of the same sort of type. The same sort of ilk guy. So number 5, we've got Rob Zombie, the artist. He's known, he's got his own band, but it's just called Rob Zombie. And he also directs films, but I've loved him for years. I've got all his albums, seen him live a bunch of times. He brings like a whole stage horror show with him when he's on like in a big arena. It's really cool. So we've got him at 5th. Number 4 is a band called Ahab. And it's, wonder where the inspiration for that came from. But they're this German band, right? And obviously the best known. They're the big fans of Moby Dick, which I'll also own in case nobody has ever noticed or paid attention. But they play this type of music called funeral doom metal, right? And for anybody that's not like overly familiar with metal as a type, you get all these different kinds of metal music, and they too sound the same. Like Iron Maiden and Ahab, for example, are as different as Frank Sinatra and Stormzy. They don't sound anything alike. So, like, basically, that sort of music, all the songs are like 12 minutes long and really slow and heavy. And the whole point is it's meant to make you, like, bring this atmosphere of, like, impending dread and doom and, like, depression and shit. Hence the name. But it's really, really great. It's a hard thing to sell to somebody that doesn't listen to that sort of music, but they really are great. And so there's that. Number 3 for me is Slayer. That anybody that knows metal knows Slayer. You listen to some Slayer, right? Let's see, they're one of them sort of bands that like break out, and everybody kind of knows who they are a bit, or at least has heard of them. Like Rain and Blood is a huge album, so everybody knows that. Seen them live a bunch of times as well. They're great. They've retired now, though, so that's kind of sad. But
I think I was getting them and Slade mixed up there.
I've had that before when I've told folk I like Slayer. They go, They look at me and go, "You like Slade?" I'm like, "Slayer, aye." And they think I'm talking about Slade, the Christmas band.
Aye.
No Slade, no. Slayer. They're two very different things. They're a very aggressive thrash metal band for the 80s. And second is Rammstein, is a German industrial metal band. So again, a lot of people they're quite popular with a lot of different like musical fans. So a lot of people sort of know who they are. They sing in German because they're from Germany. And I don't know what to say. Du hast, that's the most famous song. Everybody knows Du hast. So they're second. And my first choice again is one of the ones that sort of break out and a lot of people know or have heard of them at least, and it's Metallica. Metallica are my favourite band. They have been since I was like 14. And I still remember when I bought the Black Album, I was in everybody's favourite place, Benidorm, back in the day. And they used to have like a music show, and I went in and I got, because I had heard the song Enter Sandman on Kerrang, way back when Kerrang was good, not just full of emo bands. I mean, if you're an emo, then that's fine, you're loving your life, but it's not for me. So I got that, and it quite literally sort of changed. You hear it when you hear something say, it changed my life, but it did kind of, because it was amazing. So that's me. I get Rob Zombie, Ahab, Slayer, Rammstein, and Metallica, and they couldn't be any different for your two lists if we fucking tried.
What's your albums, Blair?
My albums, right? So you'd think that the five favourite albums would be each for your 5 favourite bands, but that's not really the case with my list. A couple of them won they for people that made the top 5 bands. And my 5th, this is the hardest thing to rank. How do you rank your favourite albums? Because there's so many.
Exactly.
And it's the thing that I think that you go back to. You maybe don't listen to it often, but when you go back to it, it makes you feel like a unique and different way for the way any other album would make you feel. So I've tried to go with that criteria for these. So number 5 is an album called M16 by a thrash metal band called Sodom, and they were huge. They started in the 80s. They painted the big, like, as thrash metal came out in the 80s, and it was sort of like a response, an angry response to like the glam hair rock bands for the 70s, early 80s. Thrash started as a sort of like fuck you to that kind of thing. It was it's really fast and aggressive and that kind of thing. Sort of starting for like 82 and 83, all these great new thrash bands came out like Metallica and Slayer and that. And Sodom was part of that movement, and they have a lot of albums. I mean, try to pick any one of their albums is hard. But M16, I think anybody else that hears this and maybe listens to Sodom, which might be rare, I don't know. I mean, they're kind of popular, so if there is any other fans out there, do let me know. That'd be cool. But M16, I think, is the most complete album that they've got. So that's that one for me. And 4th is going off that sort of theme is Bonded by Blood by the thrash band Exodus. And they're one of the first of the bands. That's their debut album that came out in like 1984, I think, just as the movement was picking up sort of speed. and it's really angry and aggressive and just like a big fuck off to everything that was happening at the time. You can tell when you hear it still, it's so angry. Like some of the songs it's got like a lesson in violence and things like that. It's just great. But if you don't like that sort of music, you probably hate it. So number 3 was The Call of the Wretched Sea by Ahab. So they did make the top 5, and that's the first Funeral Doom album I ever heard, and I didn't know it sort of changed the way I listened to music, because I had never heard that kind of metal before, and it was like a culture shock. To me, metal was always really fast and like aggressive, and this is so like down tempo and down tuned and slow and moody and atmospheric. It's hard to explain to somebody that's never heard it, but it changed my opinion of what metal music could sound like. And I listen to it all the time, and it's quite hard because it's a long album because all the songs are really long. But it specifically is based on the novel Moby Dick, just like the band. But we'll not get into that anymore. So there's that. Number 2 is Mutter for Rammstein. It's the first metal album I ever heard, and again, I don't. Like I just said, I hate it when folks say I listened to this or I saw that and it changed my life forever. I do hate that because it sounds cheesy. But I was 9 when I heard this album, and it was in my uncle's car, and he was taking me fishing. And that's the first metal I'd ever heard, and it really, I was like obsessed after I heard that. Because at this time, me as a 9-year-old, I'm still listening to Five and the Backstreet Boys and fucking Kylie Minogue and all the hoops and all that kind of stuff, right? So I hear this, and it's like nothing I've ever heard before, and it changed everything. And then I started listening to more of that kind of music, and that's what got me into watching horror films and things. So these are like the 2 biggest like interests in my media life are because of that day with that album. So it's, you don't want to be that cheesy bit that goes, it might have been different if I never heard that, but Mutter for Rammstein was a huge deal. And this is the hardest one for any of these lists we've had today, right? Is because I wanted to go with Metallica album because they're my favourite band, and Metallica's sort of split with the fan base. Some people think there's this big opinion that it's only their first 4 albums that are any good, is so half the fan base would say, and after that they became sort of like sellouty and mainstream. But I genuinely love all their albums, every one, Load, Reload, Saint Anger, everything that everybody else says you're not supposed to like. Maybe it's just because I'm a huge Metallica fanboy, I don't really know. Maybe I'm tone deaf. So I tried to pick one of those, was horrendous, but I've ended up going with Ride the Lightning, their second album, 84 or 85, I don't remember. It's like pure thrash metal at its purest in its basest form, and like it's so many. So even, you know how like when you go halfway through an album, some of it sort of sounds like filler. Like this song is just there to get you to the next like big hit. Mm-hmm. Everything on Ride the Lightning is so great and amazing and just technically brilliant. So it's also the first album they had with a ballad on it, because Metallica like a wee ballad every here and there. They've got a ballad on that one. I don't know. That was hard to pick, and it might change if you were to ask me tomorrow. It might be a different album, but as it stands, Ride the Lightning is my favourite album of all time. So, yeah. You?
Mine's really not in that much depth. It's just kind of the essentials.
I really like music. I'm sort of off on a tangent there. I know we're all hungry, and I'm sorry.
No, it's alright. I actually quite enjoyed listening to that there.
Like mine, What's the Story, Morning Glory from Oasis. Elvis is the king, so that's basically all his best hits, because, you know, he was dead before I was born. The best is Sinatra, AM from Arctic Monkeys, and just essential Michael Jackson. Like, it's really, like, I'm more of a Spotify guy. I make my own playlists and stuff rather than listen to albums.
That's what I'm like as well, to be fair.
I've always been the opposite of that. Like, I if I'm going to listen to some band, I pick an album and then just play that album like right the way through.
Yeah.
I do like a bit of that, though, a bit of chopping and changing on Spotify, because your mood changes a bit depending on what you're in. It's a handy platform for that sort of stuff. Maybe they'll give us a deal one day.
Actually, I was hearing something about that last night to do with Joe Rogan. Apparently, a lot of the Spotify workers are planning on going on strike if they can't censor his stuff.
All right.
Because that was apparently in his deal, that there was no way he was getting censored. It was just going to be essentially the same I think YouTube are censoring some of his stuff, or trying to, and that's where issues were arising. But apparently Spotify are wanting to go down a similar route, and I don't know how he gets out of that, because obviously he signed like a 5-year contract or what have you.
That's crazy.
That
Maybe we don't sign with Spotify then when we're finished.
we just remain independent.
Nah.
We create our own network. That's what we do, and we sign
There's that
Rogan.
There's that show. We become the next big, huge moguls. Yes.
Joe Rogan, if you're listening, hit me up.
We're going to save the game. Stormzy fan, a Sinatra fan, and a Metallica fan are going to band together, revolutionise how media is digested, and it's going to be awesome.
The Twitter's at always _wired.
So
The arrogance.
did you finish your album, Scott? Yeah.
What? Yeah. Mine were just dead boring. There was just essentials for all those favourites.
Hey, the hits collections have all the best songs on them, so it's fair.
So I went for St. Jude's. That's an album with the Courteeners.
Oh, nice.
I went What's the Story, Maureen Gorey, same as Scott. And this is purely, the next one, this is solely based on, I mean, listening to it a lot more recently. It's the Rocky IV soundtrack. It's just, I don't know, it's just when I listen to it, it really does, it boosts my mood. Like when I listen to it, I just get happy and I want to be productive.
That's great. To be like, all jokes aside, that's a banger of a soundtrack though, isn't it?
Aye.
It really is great.
And it does, like, to reiterate what I said earlier, it gets your plums pumping. So, like, see if you are wanting to go and do something, like, if you're wanting to be motivational and if you're wanting to, like, hit the gym, that is the soundtrack to listen to, because you will. I'm speaking from experience here, because when Hearts and Fire came on last night when I was on the treadmill, I put that baby up to number 10 and I rang like a motherfucker. I was on there like Usain Bolt going for it. So I just because I've been listening to it a bit more recently, I feel like it gets me going.
That's fair.
Number 2 is American Idiot by Green Day. I think that was the first album I ever bought. But fun fact, actually, the first single I ever got, I think I was about, I can't remember how old I was, because I begged like my parents to get me Sound of the Underground by Girls Aloud.
I love that. Shamelessly, I loved a bit of Girls Aloud. Completely unapologetic about that. They were brilliant. They had so many hits.
Absolutely, man. And I had that single, so I used to I had a wee like camouflage CD player that I used to sit and used to like play a Sound of the Underground, or then it was like now you had like now 30 and all that. I used to listen to that. But man,
Girls Aloud were brilliant. I'll give you
that was the first album I ever got, and that's that American Idiot. I think that's when I started to kind of appreciate music a bit more. Number 1 is Erratic Cinematic by Jerry Sermon, the Scottish fella. And
Is he the one that has that song, She's a Belter?
Yes.
I
album.
I don't like that song.
Album.
It was funny at the start, but that was just annoying.
I think the guy's a bit of a bell end, and he tries to play into a fake Glasgow hard man persona.
You know, try and fight someone at one of his concerts.
Aye, and it's like it's not like he's actually wanting to fight. It's the whole hold me back routine that he does. Like he's like pretending that he's going to jump off, and it's like, mate, see if you're going to do something, jump off the stage and do it, or jump into the crowd and get fucking leathered. Like, do you know what I mean? Stop this. Like, aye, you're Picasso milk, but it doesn't make you a ticket. Fucking grow up. You're about 30-year-old, but your music's amazing.
Well, we're all just talking about separating the art for the artist, aren't we?
Aye, when I see a lot of his stuff on Twitter, like the stuff on Twitter, because it's been a couple of occasions, it drives me up the wall a wee bit. I hate the kind of fake hard man persona. So it's like, who are you trying to impress?
Try to get the women.
Aye.
Yeah, attract females.
Weirdly, the first album I ever bought was from a band called...
That's very varied, that. I like that. Because I knew we were all going to have different things, but that's why we came together to make a podcast anyway, because we all have very, very different interests media-wise, the three of us. Mm-hmm. So between us, we have a big net that we catch a lot of stuff in. So that was cool. Yeah, good choices. I say good choices. I hate it most of them, but like I appreciate it.
What was your first album, Scott?
It was called Love Metal by a band called Him.
Right.
Oh, I remember them. I went to one of my old pals for school was fucking obsessed with him. I never get into that the goth metal.
This is. I just kind of listen to it. I like that.
Fair enough.
You played the PlayStation. I played the PlayStation. I like her.
See the wee pinky came out there.
You heard all that new rapper music? I've heard it.
And I like it.
And I like her.
So that takes us on to games. I'm actually quite excited to speak about my games because I'm quite boring. I sit and play games a lot of my time and I love it. And sometimes when you get a good game, you just get engrossed in it and you just want to talk about it all the time. And you get annoyed when folk don't appreciate how good the game is.
I don't think anybody that listens to this will find that boring though. Since we talk about games and films, the sort of people that listen to this or will watch this are all massive gamers anyway. So
Here's
you're gonna fit right in with that demographic.
Here's hope.
All the Rogers Fitba fans that have been tricked into thinking we're a Fitba podcast. This particular episode is boring them to fucking tears.
It's just Harry Maguire and his whole family. I'm loving that he's not getting slated.
There's that one dislike.
Wouldn't it be funny if he became a huge fan of this at some point? Harry Maguire became an always.
We got Harry Maguire on the podcast. That'd be hilarious.
I'm just gonna sit and shout at him.
I think that's my favourite bit from the first podcast. If this does manage to get its way to Harry Maguire, Goni fuck off.
Passionate man.
So I'll kick us off with games then.
Right.
So it was hard to put it in order, right? But I went for an order. So number 5 is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, classic.
I think my childhood was wasted in that game. I owe a lot to it. I owe my maths skills to it. Because at school, I used to, see when you're in primary 4 or 5 and when everyone's stupid as fuck. See if you knew big numbers, the teachers were very impressed. So I knew numbers in the thousands, tens of thousands, and millions. And they were how do you know these numbers? And I was like, well, I play a lot of Grand Theft Auto, and I win. When you complete a quest, you get money. So I was like, I'll get all this money, 3,500 added onto my tally and all that. It's as well as.
Before you move on for San Andreas, I remember I wasted an entire summer, and I mean an entire summer, trying to prove that all the myths and legends in San Andreas were fucking real. I don't know, you remember that there was the myth that Bigfoot was in it?
Oh, the Easter eggs, right?
Aye, them. I spent a whole summer when I was young. I would go down to Costco every morning and get a big bag of Scran, and then the whole up in my room with my PC on with the wiki page up. And I just sit shirtless playing the game in the dark, trying to find Bigfoot. And obviously I didn't fin it because there's no there. An entire summer holiday wasted.
It's such a good game. The fact that you can just go to the gym
and get hench.
I know. It's like that. Just walking around.
And if you don't go to the gym, you get pure skinny.
I know. After you run around everywhere, you don't go to the gym, you get really skinny.
Oh, it's mad. But that was the thing. I used to get in, and I used to sit down in front of my telly, and I used to have my wee cheat codes that I didn't need to work.
Wrote them down on a wee notepad.
I used to get my all like
that. Just what they did, what buttons you need to push.
And it was. I still remember some of the codes to the day. It was R1, R2, L1, R2, left, down, right, up, left, down, right, up. That was one of the weapons.
Yes.
It was mad. I think that game kind of shaped my childhood in a sense because I used to play San Andreas an awful lot.
Oh, San Andreas was amazing. You can get the not a remaster, but you can get it on the PlayStation Store.
I just think I don't want to play it because when I see the graphics now, looking back at the graphics were shit.
Well,
I can still appreciate it though, like that in Vice City. They look exactly the same, but it's such a good game.
I tell you what though, see before even all of that, when I still had my old Windows 98, I had GTA 2, the disc, and I'd play it on my Windows 98. To this day is my favourite GTA game. And I'm not saying that to be a wido because I know it became much bigger and expensive. But the amount of fucking time I sunk into GTA 2 was brilliant, and the soundtrack was great.
He had this like punk rock song called "Taxi Drivers Must Die," and it was brilliant. He's driving about mowing folk down listening to this song going, "Taxi drivers must die."
The earliest one I remember is Grand Theft Auto 3. That's when he goes to Liberty City for the first time. I didn't play GTA 2 or 1.
Right, see, I had the first two, but 2 was amazing. I still, to this day,
really like it.
Was number 1 not like blocks?
2 was as real. They were like top down, huge, and it was kind of blocky.
I think the first one was in like Britain.
No, that was a separate spin-off. GTA London was like a sort of DLC type situation,
right.
or whatever they called DLCs in the 90s. I don't know what they called it, but it was like an upgrade type of thing for the first GTA London. Yeah. I had that day. It was great.
So number 4, I've got Assassin's Creed 2.
Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood or what's the other one? Revelations. Or just 2.
Aye, Brotherhood was really good. But I was thinking standalones. I was like, Assassin's Creed 2 was just excellent. But I just
Ezio Auditore di Firenze.
Aye,
I've never played any of them. But
they're really good.
My partner's a massive AC fan, so like I would always get that. It was Christmas presents when we had no long started getting it. Just get her. I would watch her play them. It didn't look like my sort of thing, but I appreciate like how huge it used to be. She got right into them.
I think the next one will be up your street, Blair, because it's
you're a Viking, aren't you?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Are you just making assumptions that I like Vikings based on my appearance?
No, because you tell me all the time you like Vikings.
I wish I could go back and be a Viking.
I really liked Black Flag, the pirate one.
I couldn't get into it. I bought it there, but I just could never get into it. I think I played it a handful of times, and like one of the controls, something to do with the controls when you were on something was just pissing me off, and I was like, nah, shit, I don't want to play it. I didn't get a chance. But Assassin's Creed 2, I absolutely loved that game. And then number 3 was Skyrim. I lost so much time to Skyrim.
I've never played that either.
Oh,
people assume that I like Skyrim, but I've never played it.
It's really popular though. It's like a fair assumption. If somebody says, "Oh, I like the game," it's safe to assume you like Skyrim.
Because it's like free roaming as well, so you essentially need to do anything. Like any quest, you can just go about the map and killing things. It's a bit like World of Warcraft in that sense. About getting giants and elephants.
Back in 2 things. I've never played World of Warcraft either.
And
I played that once.
I played it once at my friends, but I wasn't 100% sold on it. But no, Skyrim, I absolutely loved that game. I just thought it was excellent. Just everything you could do. Like, when the DLCs came out, you could turn into like either a werewolf or a vampire.
Yeah.
Just cutting about as a werewolf, like ripping folks' heads off. I found that quite interesting. And you could go, because you could match your character to your personality as well. So I always just go a Nord. A Nord's got it's essentially a Viking. It's a big butch human. I like that rather than going like an orc or like an elf.
I don't like orcs and all that shit. Like elves. It's not my thing.
Because like the elves, it's like depending what you pick. It's
kind of, but because I like Game of Thrones, but that's quite fantasy. But I fucking hate like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. It's just boring.
Oh, blasphemy!
I hate it, Day.
Blasphemy!
See, it's boring. I can't even get past the first 15 minutes.
Don't give it a chance.
I'm not giving it a chance because I can assume it's pish.
Well, I went and saw all 3 of the pictures because my mom dragged me to see them, and I hate them. I've always hated them.
The third one is really good. The third one is probably the best. It won 11 Oscars.
It's not like 7 movies or something. It's like 15 hours long.
There's like 3 Lord of the Rings, and then there's 3 The Hobbits.
That's too much.
The Hobbits are really good.
That's too much. Did they not sort the ring out in the first movie?
No. It takes them 3 movies to go in order. Like, don't
fuck off. There's no chance it takes them 3 full movies to walk to somewhere.
What?
Did they not sort the ring out in the first film?
I don't know what they meant to do with it.
No, chuck it in the fire of Mount Doom.
That's the only thing I like about Lord of the Rings. The volcano's called Mount Doom. That's cool sounding.
You don't like Sauron, the big eye that just
He
walks?
does. No, I don't like him. He doesn't need a fucking thing.
Like just stupid eye volcano.
Aye, but he commands an army for being an eyeball due to the myth that he's that hard.
An army that gets leveled by elves. No.
Take a patata.
Like little pointy-eared losers with bows and arrows.
So Skyrim was number 3.
He's offended. You've upset him.
Number 2.
Look at his face.
Number 2, similar to Blair. I lost a whole summer to this game, and the worst part about it is it used to tell you your game time, so how much you were playing online, and I used to look at mine and go, Jesus Martin, you've played 30 days of this. Essentially, you've had a whole month of your life has been sitting playing Modern Warfare 2, and you've only had one nuke. You're shit. Give up.
That's brilliant.
So I used to bum off Modern Warfare 2, and then I went through Modern Warfare 2. Now I played Black Ops. God, fucking ridiculous after that.
Line. There was no campaign to it, so I spend it.
I get back in it. World War 2 when that came out, just because I'm a fan of World War 2 and I find it quite interesting. And then the one just brought out now. I've not bought that, but I still play it all the time because the best bit about it is the free bit, so you just need to download that.
Right. I've only played one of the actual games. I don't remember, it was one of the Modern Warfare ones. But I used to really like the zombies maps before they get overly complex. The very first one, aye, it's brilliant. It's just you in this daft wee abandoned building. How long can you survive? But I've seen, and I like the other one after that where you cut about in the bus. That was pretty cool. In a different game, it was like Black Ops 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was cool, but then I seen footage of the newer ones. And it looks so goddamn convoluted. It's like, nah, just give me like the wee box with the guns and the windies and let me see how long
it got stupid. It got quite like Halo.
Aye, that's how it looked to me. Like really, like hold mode or something. But you got like, fixing things and building shit now. Like, what? Nah, just give me an empty room and a load of windies. Let me see how long I go.
So number 2 was Modern Warfare 2, and number 1 was Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's a strong choice.
I just feel that's the best game I've ever played, but it's so good. Let's see, like the cat. Oh my god!
What?
Sorry, I just turned when I looked at the Chelsea score. They're getting beat 3-0.
That was actually seasons out the window then.
Aye.
And it's 29 minutes in.
Fuck's sake.
Sorry, it's West Brom they're playing. Sorry, I was just really short. I need to stop having things on in the background. So yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. I find that game absolutely amazing. See from the campaign to the free mode, it was just, you were never bored and you didn't feel like you needed to complete the campaign. And there was a criticism of the game, the campaign was too long, but I like a long campaign.
I like a long campaign.
Felt like I got my money's worth.
Aye.
Yeah, because you're splashing out 50 notes for it.
Aye.
Aye.
Cheap. A lot of this.
But a game that I really liked was the Spider-Man game for the
PS4. Oh,
I just felt the campaign was too short, but the free mode was great. Otherwise, that would have been on the list, but the campaign fucks it. And it's the same, like, the campaign's so repetitive. Whereas I feel like the Red Dead Redemption 2 campaign, you were kind of kept on your toes quite a bit.
Yeah, well, you could do anything. You could go play blackjack, and then if you lost, you could go murder everyone. And then if you could go, you can go hunting and fishing.
I was going to say that the amount of time I wasted catching catfish in that game. I was full Jeremy Wade. He just went about catching catfish. See, when you get to the
you can wear a blue shirt as well.
You wear a blue shirt, right? So it's
perfect.
Jeremy Wade. But when you get to the swamp and you can start shooting alligators and catching catfish, that like a month.
The alligators. Because I used to feed folk to the alligators, like the folk that would annoy me in the game.
Speaking of that, I want to change one of my TV ones to River Monsters.
Yes.
River Monsters is great, and if anyone's not seen it, go watch it. There's always a catfish.
There's a good thing my brother told me to watch, actually, and it's up that same boat. It's a guy, Coyote Peterson.
Aye, Brave. The YouTube guy.
Aye, because my niece watches that all the time.
This wee bald fella with a hunting hat on, he lets insects bite him. It's brilliant. he screams a pain. It's hilarious.
It's up there with, I quite like that Kings of Pain.
Never seen that.
It's like, see when an animal stings you, it's a pain index, but apparently the pain index has not been done for, let's say, 80 years, and these guys are like that, but let's redo the pain index and see if it stings them. So they used to go about, and they used to let all these animals sting them. So that's it. One of them's American, the other one's like Australian, so they're mental. But see Brendan Schaub, like Joe Rogan's pal, he absolutely loved the show, and he always used to talk about it in his podcast. And these guys got caught wind that he was a big fan of the show, so they're doing season 2, and season 2 is like they bring celebrities on. So they phoned up Brendan Schaub and was like, obviously you're a big fan of the show, we're really happy. How would you like to come on the show? And he was like, no, fuck that.
It's supposed to be an easier way to make money than like your day job letting a scorpion sting you or something.
Mate, Riley Peterson let a snapping turtle bite his hand.
I remember that, aye.
And he puts this little daft bit of wood right there. He was like, that should protect me. The thing went over it and just bit his forehead.
It was when he got the hawk wasp. Was it? It was some type of wasp got him.
Aye.
And half his body went fucking numb, and he was just a screaming heap to the ground.
He intentionally puts his hand through a lionfish stinger. What are you doing? That kills people.
And that's a kids show as well, isn't it, Brave Wilderness?
It's a YouTube thing, I'm sure.
Because I think it's supposed to be like quite educational, and I think it is aimed at kids.
He's got this his YouTube series. The first 20 minutes or so is him telling you about the biology of whatever horrible animal he's going to let fuck with him. And then at the end, he lets it bite or sting him, and he just rolls it screaming in pain for the next 5 minutes.
I think that would be the worst part about it. Like, he goes and picks it.
He catches it.
He catches and then lets it do it to him.
You let a black widow spider just walk all over his hands. Like, what are you doing?
No chance.
No. Kills people.
We should have a whole separate episode just about scary animals. That should absolutely happen.
Yeah. We should watch that. What's it on Netflix? It's like Australia's most dangerous animals.
The most dangerous animals.
The most dangerous animals. We should watch that.
It is great. Before we go off on some tangent here about scary animals, we should have a separate show.
So my top 5.
We're doing a list.
GTA San Andreas, Assassin's Creed 2, Skyrim, Modern Warfare 2, and Red Redemption 2.
How did we go into scary animals from games?
No idea.
So we started talking about Red Dead Redemption, and then we started talking about when you can go to the swamps.
Fishing.
Aye, and then that led us on to Sunday, which led us on to Coyote Peterson, which led us on to Kings of Pain.
We have done in the past in college class a solid 2 about scary animals. Do you mind when I don't remember what the class was? It was in the year 6, so unfortunately you wouldn't have been there for that. Otherwise it'd have been better. But we get sent to the library to research some fucking project, and we sat just Google imaging scary jellyfish and sharks and stuff.
Look at this! It's a box jellyfish.
That was always the noise, wasn't it? Oh. Here's a tiger shark.
Here's a picture of Jeremy Wade with a tiger shark. He's just...
God. Jeremy Wade. Fucking hero he is, man.
What's your games?
Right, aye. So, a bit of background. I tried making this game list for me was really hard, right? Because, again, child of the 90s, I remember all these really awesome games. And I found that my sort of gaming style boils down to just mass murder simulator, right? So, I've tried not to fill the list with just mass murder simulators and break it up a wee bit. So we've only got 3 mass murder simulators on here. But honourable mention to the likes of Twisted Metal, Carmageddon, Duke Nukem, Turok, and Mortal Kombat, because that's the shit I grew up on. So honourable mention to that. So number 5, we've got Dead Island. It's a zombie game, which is essentially just a mass murder simulator. That's all you do is kill zombies in it. You run about this tropical island and you have to get handheld melee weapons that you can upgrade and customise, like machetes and baseball bats and stuff. And you can upgrade them to get nails in them or razor wire or set them in fire. And you've got like quests today or something. There's a story there. But essentially you just hack zombies to bits. You can cut their arms off and their legs and their head. And you can kick their wee torso about the ground. So you spend an inordinate amount of time just getting twisted. But so people always criticise that because it's got virtually no story or character development, and it is just violence, really. Which it is. That's why it's good. So if you've never played Dead Island, play a bit of Dead Island. And so,
was that the game that was solely for the Xbox?
No, you get it in the PlayStation. They got a remaster for it for the PS4 and the whatever the Xbox is. I don't know what.
So it was a zombie game that was solely for the Xbox. I couldn't remember the name. I thought it was that.
It maybe originally, but it might have been actually.
I think that might be Dead Rising.
Dead Rising, aye. I didn't. That wasn't very good. But Dead Island, if you've never played it, see if you're having a bad day, just go on Dead Island and get like a baseball bat instead of caving skulls in it. My fourth choice is a cop-out because I couldn't decide between the two. So it's Far Cry 3, which isn't a mass murder simulator, and the Friday the 13th game, which I couldn't decide between the two. Far Cry 3 on the one hand is this like immersive thing where you're stranded on a desert island being hunted by like a pirate warlord who's insane, and you've got to save all your pals and things.
Do you know have a pink suit?
No, that's 4. That's part 4. The bad guy, Pagan Min, the tyrant, but he's a dictator. He wears a pink suit. The bad guy in Far Cry 3 is the dude with the mohawk. He's the pirate warlord. And Friday the 13th is you're either a camp counsellor and you've got to survive, or you get to go Jason and kill everybody. So there's that. And to break it up a bit, this is where I try to break it up. So these next two on there are about just killing people, right? You get Pokemon Crystal as number 3. Right? Aye. I always liked the old Pokemon games. I had Red, Blue, and Yellow as a child. And then when they made Gold, Silver, and Crystal, I just preferred them. I think Crystal's the best one. So I've still got it. I
think Crystal you can still play with Gen 1 Pokemon.
Aye. Same with Gold and Silver, though, because like, all the Gen 1 Pokemon are in the games. You can catch them all, is the tagline would be. I just thought Crystal was the best for some reason. I don't know why, but I've still got the cartridge for the wee flip Game Boy, the Game Boy Advance XP. I've still got one. It doesn't really.
I've got one down the stairs.
Yes, but it means the silver one with the wee tribal tattoo things on it.
Mine's the Mario one.
Right, cool.
The red one.
Cool. Either a collector's item one day. That would be. So Pokemon Crystal number 3, very family friendly. Number 2 is Age of Empires 2. The Age of Kings, which is like a PC game, and it's like a click and drag type thing. It's like a strategy game where you take control of a very like previously real ancient civilization and try and like gather your resources, and you make an army and you fight the other civilizations. It's amazing. The reason I got into history because when I was a child, when I was a child, I had this game for the PC. And before you go into the main game, they've got a wee section called History, and it gives you the real histories of the civilizations that are in the game. So I would just sit and read them, and then like get obsessed with Genghis Khan and all that like shit. Which is probably why I like mass murder simulator games.
Aye, maybe.
I actually had that game for my PlayStation, but I could not get into it that much.
I think that would be better
then
than a PlayStation.
That's why you couldn't get into it, because the port hour for the PlayStation was terrible. I really should have played that on a PC.
Right.
Much better. You can get it now. The gave it an HD remaster, and you can buy it on Steam for £4, which I've still got, and I still play it very frequently. It's amazing.
Right. I might give that a bash, because there was it as a kid that I liked, but just when I was quite young when I played that, so I didn't fully appreciate everything that was going on, and I wanted just action. But see when you're playing Grand Theft Auto,
it's two different games.
Going for that is strategy.
Well, it's like chalk and cheese, man. It's more like chess, but with civilizations. Like I said, sitting reading all them history bits is the reason I study history now at Strathclyde Uni. and that's why. That's where my love of history came. This game as a child. So gaming isn't always a waste of time. And again, the first choice is a huge cop-out, right? Because I picked the whole franchise, because I couldn't pick just one game, and it's the Doom franchise. You must have known that was coming. It was going to be
I've got a franchise or two in mind.
Right, so I cannot choose. I was like, this, when I was playing that, I was like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever played in my life. This is amazing. This is 10 out of 10. It's the best game of all time. And when I completed that, I've still got Doom 1 and 2 that came out in 95 and 97 or something. And I went back and played through them again. I was like, no, these are the best two fucking games ever made. And I went back and completed Eternal again just like a month ago. And I was like, no, Doom Eternal is the best game ever made. And then I started playing Doom 26. Like, no, this is the best fucking game ever made. I really can't pick, but it's just Doom, the franchise, which is the essence of a mass murder simulator. Yeah. They tried to get it banned in the 90s because of the satanic imagery and the violence and all that sort of stuff. But it is the measuring stick for which I compare all games to, because it's so single-minded and like plotless. It's just A to B, kill everything and then move on. It's amazing. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? It sounds like something a corrupted youth would say. For anybody that's never played,
corrupted youth. You sound like a Karen.
It does sound a bit like a Karen.
Those
the name of a Karen? Colin, or a Gavin, or a Greg.
Ooh, a Gavin.
Gavin. It's going to be Gavin. So anyway, Doom, the Hail Doom franchise is number one. So that's Dead Island, Friday the 13th / Far Cry 3, Pokemon Crystal, Age of Empires 2, and the Doom franchise. A few cop-outs on there. So,
nice. I'm starting my list with Super Smash Brothers from the GameCube.
Right? Aye.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Mate. So I'm guessing you both played that.
Oh,
Aye.
This is my summer that I wasted on a game. I just couldn't put it down. Couldn't put it down. Who's your main when you played Smash?
Who was my character? Bowser.
Of course.
He's also who I play in Mario Kart as well, Bowser. King of it. The real hero with the Mario franchise.
He's the pro tag.
He's the good guy.
Oh, you man.
I was always more of a Wario man.
Wario man.
Aye, Wario.
See, I used to play with Link. He had the sword. You could do that like 3-1 if you went really fast.
Nice.
Although I've never actually played any Zelda games.
I played Ocarina at a time on the Nintendo 64 and didn't like it all that much. There was a bit at the start where you could go fishing. I just never went by that. I just kept fishing and actually had the big fish. So it might have been good, I don't know.
It might be. Number 4 on my list is SmackDown vs. Raw 06.
Oh, yes.
Round it. Quite good. Quite good selection.
Thank you. Pinky's up for it.
Pinky's up.
Right.
GM.
The GM mode. That's what it's about.
That is what it's all about.
It was just amazing. Yeah. It's like the best wrestling game ever made, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, no contest.
It's 2006 the one where you, in the career mode, you could customise your back office and get like collectibles and shit up and put them up on the wall and stuff.
I think so. It's either that or 07.
But it's one of them. I think it's 06.
I think you're right, Blair. I think it is 06. I was trying to rack my brain there.
You remember that? You could change your wheel.
Yeah, you could put like banners and stuff and put the titles on the wall.
You would unlock various collectibles as the campaign went on, and you could like, display them and shit.
Yeah,
that was
class game. Number 4. These are in no order because they can change as well. But there's a really like a game called Stardew Valley.
What?
Really, really good. It's the most common thing. Like your granddad's died or something, and he's given you a farm, and you go and live on the farm, and you go plant your flowers and your vegetables, and you go sell them in the town. It's just so relaxing. It's very zen.
You wouldn't think it, but I know all about that because my partner Carol Ann loves it. So like if she sits and plays it, or did play it a lot before this new Animal Crossing came out.
Yeah.
She just screamed because the crows were stealing all our crops.
And if you want a bit of fantasy, like you can go down in the caves and there's this wizard. Oh, it's a really fun game. It's really zen. Number 2, I'd say probably the FIFA franchise because I'm just a massive football fan.
True.
So, and I always have 2 career modes. One to like follow like the real life results. Like if Liverpool play Watford, I won't play Watford until the real life team have played Watford in that one. And then I'll have a second one where it's just like I'll just play through the full thing. Like my second one on this FIFA, I've got like 5 league titles in a row and 5 Champions Leagues in a row.
Jesus. I hope that doesn't happen.
I fingers crossed it does.
It may. Yeah.
And for my number 1 pick is the Batman Arkham games.
Oh, they're actually supposed to be really good.
They're fantastic.
I know.
Like the combat in it's really good. It kind of gets a bad rap sometimes because it's like, oh, it's rhythm based, so you just kind of pushing the same buttons all the time. But just up the difficulty. It's not that hard.
Strong choices. Especially SmackDown v Raw 2006. That's fucking delightful.
The SmackDown v Raw games were brilliant.
They remember when the first one came out, changed everything.
I've got a PlayStation 2 somewhere, and I've been contemplating getting 06.
I did.
Like off Amazon or something.
What was the one before SmackDown versus Raw? Was it SmackDown Shut Your Mouth?
Here comes the pain.
Here comes the pain, because that was Lesnar's one, and the one before it was Shut Your Mouth.
Right. Just bring it before that.
Yeah.
SmackDown and SmackDown 2. The essence of every young boy's childhood.
Well, those games were better than the wrestling games now. The wrestling games now are like, they're like going after Dave Meltzer, like, can you get a 5-star match? Nah. Those games were like, I've got a chair and I'm going to batter you with it until you can't move.
Aye, and just got blood everywhere and all that. It was excellent. And you used to be able to actually put folk through the steel cage. Like seeing that Hell in a Cell, you used to be able to get out and put them through it.
I'm going to take credit for something WWE's done in real life, because when as a child playing the old SmackDown games and like the SmackDown v Raw, I would go into the custom titles and create the Universal Championship. Now this is in like 2003, right? Long before WWE got the actual Universal Championship. And then I would just award it to myself. Because I'm always the heel, right? So like when my pals would come out and play it, I'd be like, I bet you can't beat me for this Universal title, and I would award it to myself. And then just get counted out or something really bastardly so they could beat me. Because I wasn't that good at it. My other mate, Dan, shout out to Dan, he'd get so fucking raging playing that with me because he knew what I was going to do.
You just run up down the ring for 10 seconds.
Aye, and then get counted, or hit him with a chair and get disqualified or something. Technically, I was the undefeated Universal Champion for like 2003 until now, technically. Never did it.
Longest title reign of all time.
Better than Brock Lesnar or CM Punk. Hulk Hogan could only dream of being the sort of champion that I am.
Oh God! What else have we got? Movies.
Do you want to do the movies today, or do you want to leave them to next week?
I was going to say, because like 20 minutes ago, I sly ordered a takeout on my phone.
Man, that's fine, because when it gets to the movies, we usually go off.
It's going to be a rant.
It's usually
might be a whole episode.
That could be a hell episode, That should be a hell episode, actually.
That's
We'll do that till next week then.
because I'm not a boss sitting here.
I've got a 12-inch and some pakora coming. Don't edit that's wrong. We get 12 inches of cheese and a box of chicken pakora coming.
12 inches of cheese.
That's how we roll in Snake Mountain. It's all for me as well. Like, I'm not sharing that with anybody. That's for me.
Inches off for him.
That's all for Blake.
You just get Carol Ann the same.
She's not getting nothing. She cooked at dinner while we were recording this. I was like, I'm gonna get a takeout from her dinner. She's like, I'm gonna cook macaroni or something. I don't know which I had. I wasn't listening.
Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.
See you next time, people.